So guys, the next stop for Biz Hub is in a bakery. Right here, we want to see the magic that goes on before you taste that sweet cake in a wedding or in a function. We're in Jem's Bakery. We want to see the magic that goes on before you taste that sweet cake. So cakes are made out of pleasure and out of passion for whatever it is that you like. So for instance, if you're a footballer, most likely your wedding is gonna have a football as a cake, or a cake in the design of football. So the one that I'm about to show you right now is a cake made for a golf fanatic. This is a golf bag. Can you just believe it that they can mold anything you want to your own size, precision, and your liking? So guys, on most occasions, this is what we experience. Final product, very sweet, well made. But of course today, Biz Hub has visited Jem's Cake House here in Kikuyu. And we want to understand the business of cakes and how they go about everything they do here. Now, this will include knowing how they bake, knowing how they price, how they flavor their cakes, and what makes them different from the rest of the cake houses out there. My name is Alex Kenyon. This is the Biz Hub. Let me introduce you to someone very special, someone who has brought us here, and her name is Jem. How are you?
Hi.
Mambo.
Nzuri sana.
Introduce yourself. Waambie wewe ni nani?
Kwanza karibuni sana Jem's Cake House.
Thank you very much for having us.
My name is Jemimah Mwenda, aka Jem Mwenda. I am the owner Jem's Cake House. Yes. Jem's Cake House started 4 years ago. And we have built this business purely out of passion and the love of what we do. Yeah, so we are 4 years old into the business.
Congratulations, that's a long time.
Thank you so much.
And I can see you guys are doing a fantastic job. By the way, she's at the middle of doing something, a cake for a client this Saturday. So you're going to be experiencing the journey of doing all that, the decorations and everything else that goes into making a super sweet cake. So, Jem, talk to us about the process of making a cake here at Jem's Cake House.
So usually the process is a bit long, I would say, especially in this social media era where people have all kinds of images from the internet. So many times when you post your work out there, a client will spot your work. Probably they see you have done some good job and they settle for you. Then they'll go ahead and download an image. Sometimes those images are over edited, and they send you a photo that is downloaded expecting that you should deliver such a cake, or rather duplicate the cake. So the process begins when they send you an image of what they want. But it's a good thing again because at least you have an idea of what they expect. After that, you begin, probably the design they send sometimes require more cake and they want a small cake. So the discussion gets really long because probably, you see a design like this one, this is a 2.5 kg cake. We were supposed to use 2.5, but we've had to do almost 3 kgs of cake because initially I had thought 2.5 kgs wouldn't be enough, but on working on it I realized we needed to add a little more cake. So we've done roughly 2.9. That's like 3 kgs of cake. So the discussion goes on. You keep changing from the number of kgs until you settle on the size.
Size and price?
Yeah. Then the price now also keeps changing as you change the size. And then now to the design. I mean, the flavors first, then to the design. So once we are settled, we'll ask our clients to make a commitment fee. And once the commitment fee has been placed, we consider that an order. And then we begin the process of baking. Yeah.
So in a world where people can just buy cakes from, supermarkets and just, do their thing, what makes you different from the rest of the people who are making cakes out there?
One, I would say it is our flavors. Personally, I do a lot of research. And there is no recipe that is duplicated. All my recipes are researched. I have designed my own recipes. And so when a client tastes, for example, my fruit cake, they'll realize there's a difference in the cake. That is the first thing, because I believe before a cake looks nice and beautiful from the outside, it should taste as good from the inside. So I think that makes us very unique. And if you look at our reviews as we post online, you realize many people will say your design looks as good as your cake tastes.
Now, talking about why people choose your cakes, and I know it has been a journey. You just don't pop and start making cakes, and orders are just overflowing. First things first, where did the passion of making cakes start?
Baking has been my passion from Kitambo. And when I got married as a young girl, 6 years ago, I was working in a media house. And so I had a lot of time in my hands. We didn't have children, so I decided to utilize the extra time that I had. So I would juggle between my house and the workplace. I was just working for 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours at most. So the rest of the time I would just get into my kitchen. People had gifted me an oven during our wedding. So I had decided to put it into use. So I would come from work, come to the house, Googling some recipes. Then when I get to the house, I would try out the recipes. And when my husband would come, he would find, something unique. And then from there, actually, he discovered me and said, I have realized you've been making something different every day. Why don't you try cakes? And I decided to, keep trying, perfect my skill before I started selling.
So
Yeah.
You walked out of a media house job to come and bake cakes because it was your passion.
Yes, it was my passion.
Was it hard of a decision to make?
It wasn't, because by the time I was deciding this is what I wanted to do, I also was expecting our first child. So I was trying to put in place plans that would allow me stay with the baby more, or rather longer when the baby is born. So when I knew I wanted to go the cake way, I decided when I go for my maternity leave, I would go completely and never come back.
Those are 4 or 5 years ago?
4 years ago, yes.
So when did now the idea of starting Jem's Cake House come through?
So I started baking, kidogo kidogo. And along the way, I began, with the era of social media. I began posting my work out there, and people started, wowing me. Oh, you've started baking. Would you bake me a small birthday cake? I started, that's when now I realized actually I needed to do even my costing and know how much I should charge for example, a 1 kg cake, So I started slowly. I began selling, and the work grew from the house. The more I posted my work out there, the more people loved my work, the more they started ordering. And whenever they ordered a cake, I would remove my expenses, and then I would use my profit to buy cake decorating tools. So that happened for the whole of 2016 and 2017. By the end of 2017, I realized my kitchen was getting full and I couldn't sustain the business in the house anymore. So I decided to come and look for space. Actually, when we came here, we were not coming to look for customers because we already had a customer base.
Wow.
Our work is purely online, so we don't depend on walk-ins, but once in a while we have people who walk in and ask us whether we can make them cakes. But we purely do online work, and that's how 2018 beginning we came here.
What is the one event that you've done or that you did and you were really satisfied with your work?
We've done very many weddings, and I really appreciate all the people who have given us, trusted us with the events. But last year, at a time like now, Sitam, which is one of the biggest churches in Kenya, approached us and asked us whether we could make them the Sitam at 60 cake. It was a big cake. Yeah, so that is the one event that we did. It was a presidential event. It put us out there. We were happy to do the whole, setup, to be sitting there and to see the president cut our cake. I think it was...
So, wait, the president cut your cake?
Yes.
Eish. Lanes, people, lanes. So
Yeah, so we really appreciate that we had that opportunity, and we thank God.
So, from doing such a big event, what keeps you going every single day? You've done amazing events, you've done weddings, but what makes you wake up every single day, just go and do, and even have the motivation, even after doing such a big event, have the motivation to do a small birthday cake?
Wow, I think for me, it is the smile that comes after we deliver cake. First of all, it's about the reaction that the client gives when they see their cake, when they see their theme executed in their cake. So the smile that comes with it, and that excites me. Even if it's a half a kg of cake, it excites me to know that child was happy, slept happy, and I have the motivation to come and do that.
You've had your own fear of success. I'm very sure there must be some sort of challenges.
We have many challenges. I wouldn't want to overlook that. Most of our communication is on phone. So that process of from the time the client decides I want to work with you until the point where you agree, it takes like a whole day, sometimes a whole week. There are clients who will begin ordering a cake for December right now, and they want to be detailed. So you take a lot of time on phone, and you have cakes that are waiting for you to decorate. I think for me that has been the biggest challenge. Also being able to engage people online. The way nowadays when you put something out there and people like it and they give you comments, they expect you to appreciate. So I spend a lot of time online as well. Phone. Yes, on my phone. And so being able to juggle, to balance between, also to be able to balance between family, because at times you get home, you realize you have how many WhatsApp messages you have to respond. Some clients will not understand that ni usiku na uko nyumbani, uko na watoto. Yeah, it's family time. They expect you to give a response. By the time you wake up in the morning, they're already disappointed. They have ordered cakes elsewhere, So for me, those are the biggest challenges I've been facing. But we are trusting God that we'll be able to, with time, get someone who can be running that for us, so that we are able to manage everything effectively.
COVID manzika kuja. President akasema hakuna harusi. Events hakuna kukongamana, hakuna kama ni keki kula kwako nyumbani. How has that affected your business?
Well, it has affected us quite a bit, especially at the beginning, when we had to close our shop for 2 months. I have a small baby, so the first thing that came to my mind when COVID came and people were asked to stay at home is my baby. So I said, in as much as I want to continue working and put a smile on people's faces, I also need to be smiling at the end of the day, with the whole of my family. So we closed after some time, and many people closed around. We also thought of just going home, but I went home for 1 week, and people continued to order cakes for their birthdays. They wanted to celebrate with family. So definitely that tells you they were not ordering as big cakes as they were before. And so I decided, because they were small orders, I would carry a few equipment to go and just work from home. Then I would now do door-to-door delivery. Yeah. So clients were no longer picking cakes from us. But yes, it was challenging. Before actually COVID came, we were almost cutting our niche towards weddings. Like we wanted to go weddings completely. We usually have an offer that we give at the beginning of every year. And so as a result, we have many people who book us for weddings. At times we can get full, but we have capacity to do up to 5 weddings. But you see now with the COVID, that was cut immediately. Like there were no events, people had booked. Some of them needed their deposits back. It was challenging because you see, when someone pays their deposit, it's not like you keep it there waiting for their wedding. You spend money. So that happened to me. But again, thankfully, most of my clients were understanding. They moved their weddings. They postponed. And later on, they began again now doing the small weddings with the 30 packs. And that's what we've been doing. But it's been challenging. people have reduced from cakes of 30, 40 kgs. We've been doing weddings from 15 kgs and above, sometimes 30 kgs, sometimes 40 kgs. We are now doing like the cake I'm working on right now is a 10 kg cake. And that's a small cake, but we really appreciate that there's work for us.
So for beginners and for people who are trying to get into this cake business, talk to us about pricing.
People always want to get value for their money, so that's the first thing that someone should know when they are doing any kind of business. You don't want someone to pay and then again they'll complain that they haven't gotten value for their money. Yeah. So the cost of cake is determined by 1, the flavor they choose, 2, the size, and 3, the design. You should always do costing for your ingredients. Always have quality things because clients want quality. I believe if you're selling a quality product, people will buy it no matter the price.
So this might look like the final design, but trust you me, there's a lot to be done on this cake. So, hii imemaliziwa ama bado?
Hii bado haijamaliziwa. Imebakisha kitu kidogo sana. We are yet to do a message on this space, but we also have this stopper here.
Mkona Spider-Man?
Yeah, this is a Spider-Man. So I'm still thinking of where to place it. It can be anywhere from here. I would also decide to put it here. But yeah, I'm still thinking about where to place this mold.
Wait, what are your 3 best designs zenye umeundia client?
Nimetengeneza. Wow, I cannot count. For a long time I had wanted to try a carrot design cake. It looked very simple when I checked on YouTube.
Wait, carrot?
Yes, the design of a carrot. Yes.
Okay.
So when I began working on it and trying to shape it, I realized it's a lot of work. Initially I thought it's something very simple, but putting my hands on it was a lot of work. We have done a cabbage cake. There's a cabbage cake I did sometimes back, and the client was extremely happy. We did an apple design the other day for my pastor's wife. It was a surprise and she was very happy.
Mimi ni fan wa Chelsea. Unaweza niundia jazz ya Chelsea kama cake?
Chelsea, in fact exact venye nataka ikuwe. Any design. Hata iko na wrinkles venye zinakuanga. Tutaitoa.
Guys, I told you, we are dealing with the best in the industry when it comes to decorating cakes. We are at Jem's Cake House here in Kikuyu. Stay tuned to Biz Hub.